Chapter 12. The Power and Control. I'm going to speak in this chapter about the samurai spirit, the warrior of light, of peace. And in this chapter, you will understand that very often I didn't have this control. But I had to face the situation without control to develop the control. Again, we go more into science fiction in a positive way and demoniac way. The power of the light, the power of the darkness. And you meet both of them. You have to develop a lot, the control to handle everything. Fantastic, marvelous, and horrible. So, in the last chapter, you heard a lot about Dory. Dory had this specificity to be easily captured by other students. She tried to do something very special, to be very available, to be received by other people in an easier way. It's one of the specificity of Dory. She's an entity of love, of music. Remember when she left on a physical plan of existence, she left this music. Quand on n'a que l'amour à s'offrir, on partage, and so on. So that's what she does. She's offering the love to share. That is what is said. I saw that some people who were in contact with Dory, like the disciple I spoke about, couldn't control the fact of being the channel of Dory. Oh, now they believe to be a superstar. But what they don't know is that they don't have a power. They have a fantastic, marvelous meeting with the being of light. But if you betray the love, you betray yourself. The love goes away. Dory goes away. She's existing by herself. And many people were surprised because they believed to possess Dory and the power. You never possess the love. The love goes through you. It's very different. It's a part of the initiation where people had a lot of problems to assimilate. In the workshop that I explained in the last chapter, it created a new door in my story because the man that I saved his daughter. He had a high position in the army and police of Belgium, and he started to invite me to work on special files, very special files. He said, we need people like you because the science of today is not enough to break some limits. And when I asked him, he told me that it was about secrets of the past, UFOs, aliens, crop circles, stuff like this. But linked to the army, linked to people of power. So I said, I will think about it. It's not my path at the present time. Maybe one day. And the guy was insisting. he was insisting. He said, come on, come on. You don't know what you could do. You have no idea what you could discover. You are going to discover some incredible stuff that I don't have the right to speak about with you. But if you're part of the team, I'm going to reveal to you some stuff that are going to change radically your complete perception of the world, your comprehension of the life. Well, I was attracted, but at the same time I thought, well, you're talking like that, but you came to my workshop to learn, and now you tell me that I could learn with you? The guy said, I cannot tell you more, cannot tell you more. So I said, we stay in contact and I will let you know. The work of spirituality in Belgium was nearly completely destroyed. But I wanted to go on. At that time, I was also learning with a companion that I spoke about already. And again, to help you to understand, to perceive the light on a higher level, where you will understand that you need more and more the control. Like I needed already the control to refuse to be Jesus Christ, to have the power to say yes to a powerful network of a lot of people in Belgium, power, money. With the companion, I had also a very weird situation. Because the companion was there to teach me everything that I taught as Peter Deneuve. And sometimes I was asking some questions, more specific about this or that. And the companion started to answer, about this, I don't know. You never taught me anything about this topic. And I said, what? I mean, you expect a guide of light to know everything. But you have to understand that this guide of link to the light as well, he has access to a lot of information. But his contract with me, that we call Thomas, it's the technical term, is to teach me what I taught him. So if I am asking something that I didn't teach him, his answer is, I don't know, you never taught me anything about this topic. As an entity, he could get the knowledge about my question, but it happened that this guide had the contract of answering and teaching me what I had taught him, nothing else. That's why he was answering sometimes, I don't know, you never taught me anything about this topic, which you can understand is very special because you expect in a sort of hierarchy, anyone who is in the light knows more than you do. And it's not because of a special contract. My guide doesn't know that I am God. I remember also two girls in Orléans, one town of France, were working on a very special invention toward the sort of electricity, acupuncture, and so on. They were very much into that. And the two girls, they were very turned to their guides with a special classification. One was much higher than the other one, even in the way to talk and what she developed. One was more into perception of the body and so on, and the other was really technical, very high in spirituality and technicity and so on. And the first guide started to speak about a classification of spheres, like the level of the existence of the entities. And the first girl, I worked with her, and I started to see what they knew and so on. And she explained that her guide was of the fifth sphere, which is quite a lot of knowledge. And with the second one, who had much more knowledge, she could demonstrate that her guide was of the seventh sphere, which means much, much higher. And then, as I love to challenge, to play, to calculate, every time you meet somebody to see if he has a real knowledge and how it can be adapted to your knowledge and to everything that you know, because I had never heard of the spheres before, I started to ask questions to this guide of the seventh sphere. And the same, when I was asking some questions, this guide started to say, that I cannot know. Only you can know that kind of answers. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, you belong to the ninth sphere. You have access to knowledge that I cannot assimilate. I said, what? So you have to understand that it is the position to which my soul is linked. The soul is always the same power, but it is rooted to different places, to different spheres, to different places of existence, of connection. But you understand that if a guide of light is on the seventh sphere, how could I be on the ninth sphere? With the time, I discovered that the knowledge, most of the time, is always at my disposal. That even when I don't want to know, the knowledge is given to me. I am always in the situation where I discover the truth, as I did in the Bonfin, and I did in many places. And my destiny was to clarify a lot of stuff in my life, in my surrounding. And when I speak to people, and that they tell me that they have their free will, because they know they're babies who know nothing at all. So I went on working, and I never spoke about this ninth sphere. And there are some people like Helena. She has been my friend for nearly 20 years, something like this. She never heard about this story, for instance. Okay, I have this knowledge. So what? I control myself. I stay humble. I know what I know what I can do, but I know also that there are many things that I cannot do in this world of darkness. One day, I went on working with some people, and there was one with whom I was still in contact in Brussels. That was part of the workshop before, in the last chapter. And I went there in his house to meet different people who wanted to have help directly with the spiritual guide, with me, to understand some stuff and so on. And there's a girl coming. She's maybe 35 years old. And she's quite troubled. And she wanted to meet me because before she was a disciple of the White Brotherhood. So even more, I was even more open, I didn't meet these people very often because I was always the bad one. So she was absolutely welcome, and she started to explain. Well, when I was 12 years old, the master Omram, Mikhail Ivanov, called me in his house. When I was there, he asked me to get naked. He asked me to dance, to take positions with my legs open and stuff like this. And he started to take a lot of pictures. Then, at the end, he didn't touch me sexually, but he kissed me on the mouth, and he told me that I would be very blessed because my first kiss was given by a master of light. So I said, okay, go on. She said, later on, when I was older, I wanted to understand, because I was so traumatized by this that when I wanted to speak about this to my parents of the White Brotherhood, they just told me, shut up, you're a liar. Stop inventing things. So she was totally refused. Later on, she tried to clarify the story when she was 18, 19, with her parents and with Omram. And Omram explained that the poor girl was completely possessed by the darkness, and that the darkness had transformed completely her memory, and that she was used against the darkness. But he said, since all of this, that I was totally refused and betrayed by the Master Omran and by the light, and I was completely blocked in my sexuality. Even my menstruations were blocked. It was a total disaster. And that's why I come to see you. And then, of course, as I knew that it was a lie, because it was totally impossible, I worked with her, and I used my knowledge of psychology to demonstrate to her that it was a complete phantasm, that it had nothing to do with the truth, that it was just she had been dreaming. And she said, yeah, but I'm suffering. You're suffering because you dream some stuff, you want to believe some stuff, and you carry the weight of your craziness. And as I'm a good psychologist and therapist, I could demonstrate the complete protocol. And I remember that after that, I spoke with my friend, the one from Brussels, Walter, and I told him, I said, you realize how the people are crazy? What she was inventing and exposing. And he said, did you get angry? I said, no, I don't get angry. The poor girl is completely lost. I mean, it's my job to look after people like this, and it's fine. I mean, don't take it personally. And I work still in Brussels for maybe a week, and after that, I go to Orléans, where were these two girls with their guides and so on. But there, I was not supposed to meet these people. I went to meet different people who needed help. So it was maybe 10 days later. And among the people that I'm going to meet, there's a woman, I don't remember, more or less the same age. She comes with the same story. Now, to clarify the story, you have to understand that I was free, traveling from one place to the other one. I had my car. I mean, no one could know where I was going unless you are really a close friend. These two girls, they don't know each other. They are not part of the network. They are just coming there at random. They didn't speak before about what they wanted to speak. And when this girl is starting the story, I act like a professional. I say, oh yeah, I see, yeah. And then I have a doubt. So I started to ask details. Yes, he was taking pictures. And where was the camera? There. Where did he put the camera after that? There. Where did he tell you? That. What position did he ask? That. And this girl was saying exactly the same thing than the first one. And in this meeting, it's one of the rare times that I was totally lost. I didn't know how to answer, what to say. I was lost. And after this meeting, the same day, I told my friend without explaining, I have to leave at once. Then I drove crazily, without any control, to Brussels. And there I met my friend Walter again, because Walter was a disciple of the Master Omram and was a guy from the Bonfim as well. And 2 other people were there from the Bonfim. And I started to speak with them. I said, what's the story? They are both describing exactly the same thing. How could it be a lie? How is that? And the disciples of the Brotherhood, were also my students, they totally deny. And at one point, it is Walter who started to cry. And he said, every old student of the Brotherhood knows it. But we never speak about it. We couldn't speak to the Master Omram about this. It has always been a very embarrassing topic for a Master of Light. And we never knew what we had to do, what we could say. So we used to say nothing, to ignore totally. And when him and the 2 others started to tell me the truth, I shouted like an animal. What? I was totally crazy. I was shouting, you have been hiding this to me! What? I remember that in the middle of the room there was a table. I pushed away everything on the table. Then they said, understand us, it was complicated. I took the table, I threw it in the air. It turned 2 or 3 times on itself before falling back on the floor, half broken. I was crazy. I called Walter. I said, what? How can you dare? Then I went away. I half destroyed the door when I left the house. I was so crazy, so hurt. And there I started a new crusade. First of all, I went to see the girl to whom I said no, and I said I was wrong. It was true. I apologize. You have really been a victim. And you have been facing with me what your parents did. At least remember that your parents are not guilty. It's Omram who is guilty. Then I contacted and understand that with my story, I knew a lot of people in the Bonfim. So I contacted different people, and of course, with me being part of the Brotherhood in a certain way, the people were very talkative. I heard that he did that to, I met already after that 2 other girls, so 4 for me. I heard some stories where girls were harvesting fruit in the garden, and the Master Omram was coming with a hose, splashing, watering everybody, and then they were running completely wet and so on, very pretty, young, and he caught even one girl, and he was rubbing against her and saying, do you feel my dick? Do you feel what you do to me? I'm so excited. I also discovered by different people that he also watched porns. But to explain why he was watching porns, he explained when he was caught sometimes that he was using the porns as a network to send light to the people who were watching the porns, to help them to feel better because sex was bad. Well, a story like this, you will understand that I have like a slide out. It's a bit limit as a justification. For me, I was totally lost. These men came to me to teach me the light. This man was playing with kids. He came to me to teach me the light. Therefore, everything that I knew was fake. I had been wasting years and years for nothing. And suddenly in my head, everything was crashing down. Guita Malache, Maggie Lebrun, Annie Mouret, all these people, everything was done. Everything was done. Obviously, I was completely crazy. For a long time, I refused to use my abilities to be in contact with the light. I refused to concentrate on a guide, on channeling. So I was decapitated, lost, dead. But I had my perceptions. With the practice of martial arts and everything that I did, even if it was totally manipulated maybe by the darkness, most probably by the darkness, I could feel a lot of stuff. So I went back to see my friend in Belgium, the policeman, and I said, all right, I will be working for you. And for a little while, I concentrated only on this. I didn't want to hear any more about spirituality. I said, I'm going to do something simple, to concentrate totally on something where I will get a lot of money, because I was paid quite a lot of money, doing something very simple. I was wrong. Because the darkness of the people is everywhere. Totally, absolutely everywhere. In this center, I received files about criminal stories linked to something weird. And I used my abilities to find the solution, or at least to propose a solution that was obvious to me very quickly. And they were always saying, oh my God, we never thought of this. Oh, yeah, we're going to do some research on this. And then I started with them to work on crop circles and to do some research about crop circles. And by doing so, I discovered a lot of stuff. One day, with my friend, I was invited. There was one who worked with me who was a mechanist, but of the highest level. He was a genius and he worked on airplanes for the army and so on. With my work, I was in contact with him, and one day he told me, they don't tell you everything. I have to show you. So we did something very crazy. We went to a place and I got a suit of a colonel, captain, I've forgotten, I know nothing about this. And he took something like this. And both of us, we have been in the section of the army, which was easy for us, in a place that was forbidden to us. And we have been visiting a room that was like a place of gymnastics, more or less, with a lot of wooden boards, with a lot of pictures and files everywhere that we could visit, with pictures of aliens Not, like in the magazines, vague and very clear things where we could see the smallest detail, with files of contact, with files of connection. So, for me, he wanted to forget something disgusting. It's not that I discovered pedophile aliens, but I discovered that a lot of things were absolutely known by this government and other governments with which I worked. And they work on this, but they will never tell you. As I was paid to analyze the crop cycles, but at the same time, the governments are telling you that the crop cycles are stupidities, hoaxes done by hippies. And believe me, they take this problem very seriously. This one, but also the UFOs and everything that's happening. One day, I was on a very, very big file that maybe I will explain one day, not now, and not recorded. And they wanted me to be on their side, for sure. So they told me, we're going to reveal something to you. So that you know with who you work, with whom you are, and what we can do, and the knowledge we have. Our contact with the aliens is much more established than what you could imagine. And I couldn't speak about the pictures I saw. We have been exchanging, learning, and doing also retroengineering. And it is time for you to discover something. So they asked me to come back the next day. And the next day, I was invited to enter a vessel that was more or less like a flying saucer. And we started to fly. When we were moving and speeding up, I couldn't feel any gravity in this place. I mean, no perturbations. And we went to space. And we went in about 2 hours on the planet Mars. There, they showed me some installations that they have, how they were organizing everything to survive on this planet, because it could be that the future of humanity is on this planet. And you can imagine my excitement, everything that I discovered. And then in the evening, we went back home. In the same day, I had the journey way and back to the planet Mars. I had one of the most fantastic knowledge and secret of our civilization. Then they sent me for a special, very special file. And I had to do something special of destruction. And I refused to do this thing of destruction because the file that I found with some other professionals were even bigger than the secret of the planet Mars and the vessels possessed, owned by humans, allowing to go on the planet Mars. That brought me a lot of problems. But at the same time, I discovered that the darkness is absolutely everywhere, that they take you like babies, that they don't want you to know. And when the babies are believing to be adults, they say, oh, I have my free will to decide. Decide my ass, poor babies. You have no idea. One day, I was with my girlfriend, the one that was used before by the Master Omram at the beginning of the story. I was sleeping with her, and the Master Omram came back again through my girlfriend, because I didn't want to have any contact with the light anymore, or what I believed to be the light. And instead of calling me Iji, Omram started to call me Master. Master. I would like to talk to you, Master. Please. I want to talk to you, Master. I was not open at all, and I said, I don't want to talk to you. Go away. And he said, Master, please. I kneel down in front of you. I beg you to listen to me. And I said, what do you want? What do you want? And he said, the companion and myself, we have been working together to give you back your level of the Master, Peter Denov, Ben Saduno. You had to know. You had to go back to your level of Master. Myself and the companion, we have been working on this. So that now, while you know the secrets of the planet and the evolution of the planet, and my secrets and my darkness, I can come to you, Master, and beg you to accept my apologies. And I said, how could you hide this to me? And he said, I couldn't reveal this to a disciple. But now that you're back as a Master, I can go to you with humility and honesty and present my apologies. I was trapped, Master. I wanted to deny that I had a physical body. I had needs. I had the needs of sexuality, of love. I tried to deny, but I was so trapped that I became crazy with my needs. I tried to play with women, but because I had learned that I was not supposed to touch them, I didn't touch them. And when they sent me to jail because they complained that I raped them, they were lying. I just took pictures. But they were completely crazy because I didn't want to go any further. And for me, going further was betraying your teaching. And I said, because what you did is not betraying my teaching. And I said, in my head, no, Master. I was not having sex. I was not touching. And when I went to jail and that I saw how difficult it was, when I came back, I was quiet for some years, and then I started with young girls because I thought that themselves, they wouldn't be able to testify. And every time they tried, I said that they were bad entities manipulating their consciousness. And like this, I was protected. I just found the solution in a complete dark mistake, Master. And I needed to bring you back to the level of Master, that you know your identity, that you know everything and who you are, so that I can finish my last step of a Master Omram. And me, Michael Ivanov, I kneel down in front of you, Master, and I apologize. I should have been coming back when you called me. You told me that I was not ready, that I would not face the pressure. And I refused because I was young and arrogant. Master, please, forgive me. Please, Master, let me go in peace. Forgive me, Master. And I was boiling, crying, shaking. And he said, you are the Master. You are honest, pure, and strong. You were always able to face everything. I tried to follow your path. I admired you so much. I wanted to do the same, to be the same one. But this is something that I couldn't do because I was eaten by the inside, by my needs that I tried to deny. Oh, Master, I was so wrong. Should have been going back to you to finish my studies and to be ready. Master, please, I beg you, forgive me, Master. Forgive me. And I looked at my girlfriend who was sleeping with the presence of Omram outside of me. I clenched my fist. I rubbed my face. I couldn't breathe. It was too hard. And I told him, I forgive you, Michael. I forgive you. And he told me, now I have finished everything that I had to do with you, Master. Now, on the path of the teaching and of the light, you are now alone. But you are Master. You are one with yourself. Don't reject the light because of me. You have never been wrong. I was wrong. And then I just asked a question coming from my heart. I said, now that you are living, what did you learn? What did you understand? And he told me, I understood that trying to deny our human existence is a mistake. The love is existing, the sex is existing, the sensuality is existing, and we can choose not to deny this, but to express our divinity in the sexuality. To make these two powers one. And when you love your partner, you love God. You love the divinity. You are alone now, Master, on the way of the light. Let me tell you something. You don't yet know who you are. But if you go on working with the light and go into your path, you will totally understand that you are much more than the Master means to know. Your journey is not yet over. Far from it. Don't reject the light because of me. I did a mistake. You didn't. You have been walking your path of a student in a perfect way. You went back to your state of master in a perfect way. And as you were before, you have to finish your adventure, your evolution, your task. I admire your existence, Master. And as I wanted to freeze everything from you and to copy you, my disciples now in the Bonfim, they do the same. And my sexuality or my non-sexuality, my non-recognition to some elements of my real existence as a physical body is freezing now everything in the Bonfim. And everything that I did is denied because I wanted to deny a little part of my existence. And because of this, I've been hurting so many people. Master, you have a fantastic destiny with the light. I give you back this destiny. I don't want that my name is pushing you away from your destiny with the light. Master, you are alone, but you are one with the Great Spirit. I couldn't succeed on this level, but you have always done it. And you go back to that. I know that it's hard to trust me now. But from where I stay, what I see, what I did, what I see that you did, believe me, Master, you can do so much. Don't deny the love. Learn from my mistake. Thank you, Master. Thank you. It has been a pleasure and an honor to learn on your side. And you went away. I couldn't sleep anymore. I got dressed and went to walk in the forest. I thought to Yolande that I had been ignoring for years because of the story of Omram. I thought to the pleasure of being with the light. I was so sad, so crazy, so deeply touched, so troubled. I went in the forest and I was crying. I was kicking, I was going to the floor and crying again. I was shouting. I went far away in the forest and I was just shouting. I had really a crisis, a complete crisis. I was hysterical. It was just too much, too intense, too violent, too horrible, and everything that I've been learning about the aliens, about what they do on this planet. I was a total alien. I was really alone forever. I lie down on the floor and I cried a lot, immensely. And in a bold position, fetus position, I fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, they were very close to me, birds singing, 3 or 4. I could nearly touch them, but as I stayed a long time without moving, they didn't really perceive my presence. I woke up at the sunrise. Even if I couldn't see it, I just saw the light and so on. And I felt extremely well, in spite of everything. I was with the forest, I was with the light. I was with the birds. I sat down and I called a channel of light. I started to meditate with the forest, with the entities of the forest, with my guide, and with Dory. And I was happy and fine. This day, I decided to have always birds around me, to remember the truth of the light behind the darkness. I started again to be with the spirituality. I started to teach really seriously. And then I started to create a lot of exercises to play with the sexuality. Not with people who didn't want, not with kids. No. People who wanted to practice massages, wanted to use the beauty of the others to be stimulated in the work of spirituality. I could use. I did a lot of workshops and teachings about this. But I saw that it didn't work. Why? Because men around a girl, they become crazy. With the time, I called the pussy the octopussy, and I could see the tentacles on the side. And in spite of trying to use the mistake of Omram, not to refuse the sexuality, the frustration coming from this fake sexuality of this world and going to the light, they didn't have the discipline, the power, and every time they were captured in the sexuality. And they did the worst things because of sexuality. So if you deny the sexuality, you become like Omram, frustrated, doing some horrible stuff. If you put the sexuality into the teaching, then people don't have the control, the discipline. And from there, I went back much more into the Shaolin spirit, martial arts. I thought that with a lot of martial practice, people could develop the beauty of the light, the love of the light, and the discipline that is needed to control the emotional, physical state. And this is where I am now, even if my story is not over, because I discovered further the art. I started to discover the art of not remembering my past lives, not only this one, but all my past lives. I started to learn how to discover the past lives of the others, to remember that as well. I thought like this, I will understand better. I will be able to recognize my friends. Yes, I could and I can. But as they are totally unable to remember, because they are unable to face the responsibilities of remembering, then it was even more the loneliness. Because remembering means to see somebody, to know his story, and not to have the right to say one word, because he or she doesn't remember. So you are there, you meet brothers, sisters, you want to hug them, you want to say, "Oh, my brother, I've been waiting for you for such a long time. This is so marvelous to meet you." And the only thing that you can say is, "Yes, hello, what can I do for you?" You see them doing horrible mistakes regarding their history, their karma, and Sometimes you try to guide, but most of the time there's nothing you can say because they don't know. They don't see the inside. They don't see the outside. They don't see their sexuality. They don't see their souls. They don't see their guides. So I developed more practice to do humanitarian actions, to be into the practice, martial arts, discipline, power, strength, purity. We play with the sexuality in a pure way. I refuse something dirty, manipulative, betraying. Just accept the power of the love. Love each other in a perfect, divine way. But the psychology of people is so troubled, so vicious, so dark. You need so much power to stay with the light and not to go back to your snakes, to your poison, to your ghouls that are controlling your existence. I saw so many people falling down because of the power. If you don't give the light, the people are sentenced to stay simple baboons. If you give the light, they're going to develop power, and they're going to use this power for the worst reasons ever. Knowledge means power. It's undodgeable. So I try to teach also the discipline so that they can control this knowledge. Whatever their origin, their story, stay discreet, be efficient. But the people love so much the power that they prefer to enjoy the power in their last reincarnation or whatever else than to work with honesty, strength, purity, intensity. And there I understood everything. Why the complete story, why it was so important to know about the purity. The purity doesn't mean that you don't do anything. It means that you do it in a pure way, in a divine way. When you go to the angels, when you go to a girl or a man, when you are among a brotherhood. After being tortured somewhere, because I protected people and because, in fact, different governments like France and Belgium, they hate me for very good reasons, because I know stuff about aliens, about the history of humanity and what they are preparing. I was arrested, I was tortured, I became blind. And after being blind, I discovered, thanks to Jess, somebody who brought a link at home and said, "Hey, G, check that." And I started to check and said, "No, that's impossible." And I started to work. I was in contact with Daniel Kish, who is an expert of echolocation, the art of seeing with the sound, to see with the sound. I jumped very strongly on this because the light always told me, since I am blind, you will not stay blind. You will see again, which is impossible because my eyes are dead. But maybe again, the solution dwells in a path that is not the classical path. Maybe I can see with my ears like a dolphin. The dolphins, I worked a lot with them in the past. I did a lot of conferences about their system. I went to swim a bit everywhere in the world with the dolphins. But when I was in contact with Daniel Kish, he's at the head of World Access for the Blind, he understood that I was a dangerous concurrent. He saw at once that with the psychology and Shaolin teaching everything, I would be very dangerous, that I was always teaching for free, that I don't believe in money. And as Daniel Kish believes a lot in money, he said, no, that's not a good idea. And I was totally unable to be in contact with a teacher. I was ready to go to America, to go anywhere to learn echolocation. I had no clue how to do that. And I couldn't. Thanks to a French friend who had at random the address of somebody in Belgium that was not recognized at all, I could contact this Belgian one, and for 2 days I learned with him for 2 days, just a workshop of 2 days. He came in Berlin and I studied with him for 2 days. Then, after that he went away, so I had only the very basic knowledge. He was not free anymore, he didn't want to teach anymore, he had problems in his life, so he was not open anymore. Daniel Kish, even worse, so I was completely stuck. So I decided to work with the best one, Ben Underwood. Ben Underwood was a black American who could practice echolocation, but unfortunately he died from a cancer. And then I thought, no problem. The death is not the end. And I started to work with him. He started to teach me every trick that he had, and he was the best one. And at the same time, I taught him some stuff. Because he believed so crazily in his mother that he was really, really stuck somewhere. So I helped him to be free, and he helped me to teach echolocation. That's how I became a champion of echolocation. And then I tried to teach echolocation for free in the world, but most of the time it didn't work because there is a system on this planet. And we don't want people who are blind to learn to see differently with a sound like a bat, like a dolphin. And again, I discovered through this system such a hell, such a fight. When I was in the bathroom in the last chapter, demonstrating echolocation, that you have absolutely to listen with headphones or earphones. In fact, you have to know that when I started to practice with Ben Underwood, and also the Belgian one, I started to practice to develop the art of listening. And I did that mainly in the toilets. Why? Because in the toilets you are alone. So after doing what I needed to do, I was going to the door and recognizing the resistance of the door, and with the time I discovered that, I can recognize the door 20 centimeters, 40, 60 centimeters away, and so on. So I could measure the distance, and I could see, I'm reacting differently. And where I worked a lot on this is exactly where I stood when you had this recording in the recording at the end of the last chapter, when I entered the bathroom, because exactly where it happened, it is exactly where I learned the complete beginning of my echolocation. And it is Ben who said to everybody exactly at the place that I started, fight. And indeed, it is logical, because I taught him to fight against his beliefs. And he taught me to fight, to manifest the echolocation. Now, I'm working with people maybe one day to trying to create a machine that will increase the art of hearing so that the echolocation is not anymore an echolocation but an echovision, really like a dolphin or like a bat. I'm working on this. I don't know if I have time to do it before I leave this planet, because it's very hard to keep this intensity of light, of awareness, of love, when finally you are alone for all of this. Yes. I discovered also the breatharianism, or that we can call pranism. That was a short time ago. I discovered this, the art of eating the energy so that you don't need to eat anymore at all. And I must say that when I started to practice this discipline, it was fantastic. For the first time since a very long time, I had a love story with the forest. I was with the forest, and the forest was feeding me, and I didn't need to eat anymore. And I made the mistake to do more research about pranism, breatharianism, and I met monsters, liars, people who are totally responsible and extremely dangerous, stealing money, and again started a war that I've been living mainly alone. How sad. How sad. And again, this story didn't work any further. I was in the middle of a war, alone, fighting, revealing. And again, the darkness was everywhere. And some people were with me. They are weak. They don't know what is to be with the light. They don't know what is to be coherent. They don't know what is to have this discipline that is changing the complete structure of your brain, that through the neurons is feeding some part of your neurons in your spine and around your heart. When you do that, your heart is full of information, of peace, love, and the existence of the light. When your heart is beating, you have a wave, electromagnetic wave, that is invading your complete body to download information for your DNA that is 85% completely empty and ready to receive information, to receive the complete illumination. That is not only a phenomenon of meditation, but a complete radical transformation of your abilities, of what you do, of what you perceive, of how you act. The life could be divine here, but it is not, because people have no commitment, no discipline, because they believe so much in their free will that is only a pit of snakes, of ghouls, if you know this name. We have the power to call and manifest the light, to be at the same time divine and marvelous, fantastic beings, happy, fresh, intense. We can do so many things. We can develop the ecovision, we can develop the abilities, we can have the knowledge. What are my missions at the present time? To develop the pranism, because it is possible. But for that we need a different surrounding, a different existence, friends, a network of real love. The ecovision because it is my destiny to see again, completely and totally. And it is also my work to establish a clear link with different aliens, high aliens that are there to teach and to reveal the knowledge of the cosmos, the edge of the cosmos to humanity. Then I have another mission, but this one I don't speak about it because how could you hear that? And already what I presented now is quite a lot, I believe. And at the same time, you have to know that everything that I say is a sort of lie. A lie because it cannot happen. Because how do you want me to do that alone? There's no way. At the same time, in the present situation, where I couldn't create a body of light, I'm not talking about one, but a brotherhood, that in spite of everything I tried, I couldn't win on the darkness. Then, in spite of what I had to do, the power of light is too strong in me to stay in the darkness. So, as I cannot accomplish any of my tasks, it will be most probably time for me to leave this plan of existence with the complete darkness and to go to a plan of existence of light. And again, as I explained before, you are going to call that a suicide, because suicide is for anyone who believes only in the existence of the physical body. But if you cannot do something here, then I can meet some friends, some aliens somewhere else, in another plan of existence, on another planet, with a complete different story. I will not stay linked to this planet Earth if it is only to bear the darkness and the loneliness. The answer is no. The death is not an end. For somebody like me, my duty was to bring the light here. And I couldn't succeed because this planet has been falling down completely into the absolute darkness. I tried everything I could. I suffered so much. I gave so much. And I failed. But I mustn't stay on a failure. At least I have to stay with the light, with or without physical body. Was I too weak to accomplish my task? Or is the planet Earth that is completely wrong? You have to understand something. Before dying, the Master Peter Denov declared that the planet Earth will be touched by a different electricity of the cosmos. And since 2012, it's happening. More and more quickly, the vibration of this planet are changing. We calculate them in hertz. We were on 7.83 hertz, and we have been for many centuries, and now we are turning around 120 hertz. So everything that was announced by the Master Peter Denov is arriving now. And unfortunately, because we're in a system that is extremely weak, will not be ready. And instead of a radical evolution with the time of love and light on this planet, it's going to turn into a complete chaos and absolute destruction. A short while ago, I discovered the herds that were changing so much. And I said, my God, it's happening. And this is where I see that whatever the reason, I'm late. I couldn't develop the intensity in the heart of the others. I could do a lot of miracles, a lot of impossible stuff. But this I couldn't do. I will not stop on this chapter. I will come on other chapters about the world of the middle that I discovered as well. How to recognize a reincarnation, how it exists. And some other stuff that can help you. But to establish the stability, the discipline, the power, the love, the light, I couldn't. So at least I'm planning to leave some stuff behind me so that whatever is happening, maybe this knowledge is helping you to face some different situations. I will not give up. As long as I can manifest a little bit of light, I will stay. When the light is not existing anymore in my life, and believe me, it's going down and down and down nearly every day, then, because I am linked to the light, I cannot stay any longer. As long as I can do, I will do some different chapters. I'm planning to do 20 chapters to reveal everything I wanted to reveal. Most probably, I will not reach the 20 chapters. I wanted to do more precisely 22 chapters on the alphabet, Hebrew alphabet. So I wanted to do that, but most probably I will not be able to do because it's useless, because the light is going down, because I carry too many secrets, too much love, too much pain, too much sorrow. Every time I've been working with the humans, I discovered so horrible stuff. So horrible. This is so dark. So disgusting. And the light is so marvelous. So fantastic. And every time that I see a spark somewhere, in the heart of somebody, in the gaze of somebody, boom, bam, boom, comes back the darkness, the power, the lies, the laziness, the craziness. I tried, I swear I tried. As hard as I could, I tried. I gave so much to so many people. So much. I took incredible risks. So much. The world is so much something that you cannot understand. You have been so deeply manipulated. It was my destiny to always know the truth, to always discover the truth. I know. And you know, for a long time, that was my way to dodge. I was obliged to keep all these secrets and many others that I didn't reveal here. And some of my students, of my disciples, they wanted to know, and I said, I have been contemplating the face of God, and I know the truth. And people were saying, but what did you discover? What did you see? And I used to say, and I still say, if I were telling you the complete truth, you would lie. You would die at once. Imagine somebody who is a bit like Einstein and is obliged to live with baboons. It's a bit frustrating, unbearable, a real torture. So I know I'm not humble when I say that I'm Einstein, that the others are baboons. But what I say is that I'm not Einstein because I have a special brain. I'm Einstein because I have a special will to go to the end of the story, to know the truth on each single aspect. Develop your will and your discipline, your coherence, and everything is possible. And then I am not alone anymore. Who knows? I believe I go to the light now. In the next weeks, I go to the light. On this planet, with my brothers and sisters, or somewhere else. But I will not stay any longer alone without the light. It is my land, it is my body, it is my essence. And I will go now to my brothers and sisters. It belongs to you to be one of them. But I will not miss them. Either here or on another plan and another planet. But I'm going to be with the light because it's my destiny.